A quick note before today's video to let you know that the first 3 episodes of the Sojourn audio drama are now permanently free to listen to on their YouTube channel. Check it out in the links in the description and pinned comment below. The recent Avatar 3 trailer, and the jokes about Quaritch and his new girlfriend, has got me thinking a lot about the setting of Avatar and how the second movie takes inspiration from Pacific Islanders. But there's something else going on with those islands that's also happening in Avatar. Billionaires are making bunkers to escape to. For some strange reason, the rich and powerful seem to have this fear that society is gonna collapse and then turn on them, and I think that's also what's happening in Avatar. First, a quick recap of what's going on in Avatar 2. The RDA have returned to Pandora, and rather than just mining the funny named rock, they now have a full-blown colonization effort going on, centered on the huge fortress city of Bridgehead. This place is vastly larger than Hell's Gate in the first movie, and while it's still under construction by hordes of robots, which we'll talk about later, hold on for that, we can see on the overhead view that there's this whole big area for executive housing with big domes and stuff. They really are setting it up to be a place to live in long term. They're doing this because, supposedly, Earth is dying. If that's true, then it's due to rampant overexploitation by massive quasi-governmental corporations like RDA. So the rich people are running away from a problem that their greed caused, along with escaping all the people that may be somewhat upset about their planet dying. And this is exactly what is happening in real life. I'm not kidding here, there's a whole industry around making high-end, nearly luxury underground complexes. There's one particular company I want to highlight here, Vivos, since they've been doing this all over the world, though not necessarily just for the ultra-rich, since many of their private underground survivor shelters, as they call them, are capable of housing thousands of people at once. It's a real-life Vault-Tec. Their website is a bit funny though, since it lists Nibiru as a threat to life on Earth. You know, that totally real guys we pinky promise Planet X that's hidden in the solar system. Okay, so Vivos seems like a bit of a joke company preying on people with the prepper mindset, but as I said in the intro, billionaires are also preparing their own high-end escapes from the apocalypse. They're snapping up remote places all over the world, particularly in the Pacific in New Zealand and Hawaii. For example, Larry Ellison bought 98% of the entire island of Lanai in 2012 and permanently moved there during COVID with the goal of turning it into a self-sustaining island. Everyone's favourite lizard man, Mark Zuckerberg, is doing something similar with his enormous ranch on Kauai, complete with underground bunker. Clearly, they fear the imminent arrival of Planet X. Woo! But what about in Avatar? Why are they setting up a colony around a different star on a moon with hostile natives and air that people can't even breathe? Why not something closer to home like our own billionaires are doing? The first issue is the planet-crossing high-speed monorail system that RDA built using all that unobtainium they mined. Now it's true we haven't seen the extent of this network, but there's a good chance they basically made it so that nowhere is really all that inaccessible anymore. Plus, Earth is supposed to be dying, so that leaves leaving as the solution. They could have a nice big, rich people only space station like we see in Elysium, but those do have downsides. Elysium kinda skipped over this part, but big centrifuges with comfortable spin gravity need a robust space industry to construct. Luckily, we know the setting of Avatar has one of those. That's how they have a whole fleet of sick-ass interstellar vehicles flying around. But to some extent, such a robust industry is going to require lots of normal people in space, or at least with easy access to space, and the whole point of this is to escape normal people. Elysium shows this flaw too, with regular people risking death to get to the rich people land to get proper healthcare. The other alternative within the solar system is all the other planets and moons to go to. But everywhere except Earth is an inhospitable wasteland with various degrees of constantly trying to kill you. Most places don't have any atmosphere, so you're eternally trapped indoors or in a spacesuit. Anywhere that does have an atmosphere is instead trying to freeze, burn, crush or melt you, so again, you're trapped inside. On top of that, the lower gravity everywhere means living inside a centrifuge or risk having your bones turned to dust, and the constant threat of radiation. Turns out space is kinda hostile to us squishy humans, so it doesn't really make for the most luxurious and relaxing of places to live away from the plebes. That's what makes Pandora so appealing. Yes, its atmosphere is toxic to breathe, but you only need a little face mask to counter that. If you've got one of those, you can go out in your shorts to enjoy the sunny weather, beautiful oceans and forests, and exotic flora and fauna. Even the gravity is also on the pleasant side, rather than being dangerously low. Sure, it's still not perfect, but it's better than anywhere in the solar system, and it's incredibly isolated. More so than Hawaii and New Zealand, that's for sure. No one is going to be making interstellar trips with their guillotines looking for retribution, are they? There's just a matter of the pesky locals to deal with. Which is easy enough, you just bring along some security personnel to protect everyone. Except there's the issue of motivating them, which is a big concern in the world of billionaire bunkers. Why would anyone protect and serve you in your apocalypse bunker if money doesn't mean anything anymore? I'm not kidding, this is an actual worry the ultra-rich have. Interestingly, Avatar 2 actually presents a few solutions to this. The first is that the colonization effort is so big that it's essentially a whole new society far away from the proles. This isn't just some little bunker or ranch, it's huge, so money here is still going to have value. Yeah, it's probably a company town where the money is RDA approved unobtainer bucks or something stupid, but at least there's gonna be stuff to spend it on. There's also the possibility that things are still like the first movie, where the security personnel do a tour of duty, and if they survive, they get to go home with huge paychecks. Or to other benefits only available to the wealthy, like healthcare. That was the character that Quaritch used to recruit Sully in the first film, if you remember. That promise of getting him out of the wheelchair his military service put him in. Going beyond money, there's other perks that could be offered to keep people's loyalty. The second movie introduced the big one, Amrita, that potion of eternal youth cruelly harvested from the brains of sentient Tulkun. This is intended to be used by the ultra-rich, but it's easy to imagine doses of it being an incentive for the rank and file that actually do all the work. Some people can be motivated by other things though, like cruelty, as we see with that grubby hunter guy, Scoresby. Sure, a fat paycheck is probably the main thing for lots of people working security, but considering that hunting is no longer possible back on Earth, I'm sure people like Scoresby absolutely leapt at the chance to hunt and kill just for its own sake. It's kinda a similar deal to why Jodie Foster's character kept Kruger around in Elysium. Speaking of that movie, again, it shows another alternative to maintaining loyalty in people. Just get rid of them entirely. In that movie, the rich people have robots do all their dirty work. Robotic servants, robotic bodyguards, robotic law enforcement. They don't require payment and they're not gonna think for themselves and rebel against their masters. Perfect! Going back to Avatar, and on Pandora specifically, there's a big added benefit for using robots for labour, since they can be built in situ using resources harvested right there. That massively cuts down on how many construction personnel need to be transported all the way from Earth, which is expensive because there's only so many cryopods on an ISV, and those are needed for rich important people or replacing the SecOps goons that Awa disagreed with. The question is, why not just use robots for security too, like in Elysium? They probably could, like the automated gun turret protecting Bridgehead could count as robots. But Pandora has its areas of weird, powerful magnetic fields which interfere with advanced electronics, so flesh and blood people still have their purposes. The interesting thing here is that this use of robotics very much ties back to current trends with AI and robots in real life. Yes, on some level the technology itself is interesting, but there's this sinister undercurrent of it being made to replace regular people. Elysium is definitely a bit clumsy in its messaging, but in this regard it absolutely nailed it. And that's what this video was all about really, the messaging that the setting has. There's the obvious stuff about the environment and family, but I'm interested to see where this potential link to billionaire bunkers is gonna go. Especially considering that James Cameron himself is setting up his own farms on remote land in New Zealand. You can support Spacedock by joining our Patreon, where you can get our frigate, fighter and carrier design reference books, as well as 1 week early access to upcoming videos. Thanks to our supporters, and thank you for watching.